I do have skills that make me a nightmare for people like you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Right. Last Friday, 17th of May, I went in after arranging with Divya, Deputy Registrar at Waitakere District Court, to go and inspect and search the case file, my case file, in regards to a parking ticket. Nothing to do with violent offences, children, rape, sexual offences, nothing that's under the purview of not being allowed in the public eye, like media. It's a parking ticket. However, Divya chose to breach her duty of care and duty of trust. She breached her statutory obligations and statutory responsibilities. She breached district court rules and chose to tell me that there was an oral direction. Now, an oral direction doesn't mean that it only exists orally. An oral direction from a judge is noted in a minute. No minute exists, and the name of the judge cannot be identified. Chris Hurd, Senior Solicitor of Ministry of Justice, in his infinite wisdom, has emailed me, because I CC'd him into my complaint in regards to this, stating that I wanted to go back tomorrow on the 24th and attempt again to search and inspect the file, because they wish, or they're saying, that a judge has directed them that I must fill out an application before I can access my own file, exercise a right that I already have. My answer to that is, how on earth can I possibly fill out an application stating what it is I want a copy of if I don't know what the fuck's in there in the first place? I need to be able to see the case file, to search and inspect the case file, then ask for copies, which as a party to the matter comes free of charge. I've not received a judicial disclosure or a judicial decision. I've not received anything in regards to the case being closed, although they tell me it's closed, so there must be a decision, which since the 1st of April when it happened hasn't been supplied to me, nor has anything else. No minute, no name of a judge, no judicial decision, no transcript, and no allowing and basically breaching multiple, they've got a fiduciary duty as well. Now Chris Hurd says the Ministry of Justice keeps itself separate from judicial officers. There's separation of powers, which is fundamental. So is being full of shit apparently for any Ministry of Justice solicitor. Because all he seemed to do is point out that, try and say that I can't sue people, or I can't sue a civil servant. Well, I know something you don't know, Chris, and we'll leave that till the future. But yeah, his sister seems to freely give me unsolicited legal advice at the drop of a hat. Good of him. So apparently under the Crown Proceedings Act 1950, section 6.5, where liability of the Crown in tort, and tort is what she did. She infringed on my rights. She created a tort by not allowing me to inspect it. I even showed her the legislation on a piece of paper, and then she proceeded to play lawyer and try and interpret legalese written on a piece of paper. It's pretty simple. It says I have the right to search, inspect and copy that case file unless the judge has put a restriction on it, and there must be reasonable grounds for that restriction. As I said before, rape cases, sexual abuse cases, children cases. Fair enough. Not a fucking parking ticket. So I understand that the Ministry of Justice are basically energy vampires. They love getting a bit of emotion out of people. That's what they thrive on. Power-hungry fucking idiots that overstep their boundaries because they think they are immune from prosecution, so they do whatever the fuck they want. Today, they have overstepped. I got a phone call this afternoon from a lady that I don't even know her last name, don't know where she lives, don't know any of that. All I know is by her first name, and it might not even be her real first name, but that's how I refer to her. Now, she has followed my $80 ticket saga. She was at 3 of the hearings. She's followed all of the $60 parking ticket saga this year. She was at all of those hearings. And she came along last Friday with me as an independent witness to watch what went on. Now, because the sign on the wall says CCTV in operation, and then the hypocrites go and put a sign, no filming or photography, right next to it, so they can record, but fuck no one else better, and ignoring the fact that in courtrooms, many times I have seen police, lawyers, members of the public, all sitting there with their phones on during court. They've discriminated against me. Because I sent the recording of Divya infringing on my rights last Friday to Chris, he is now going to get the signs corrected to include audio recording as well. Because what I did isn't prohibited last Friday, is it? There's nothing signed saying anything about no audio recording. It only refers to photography and filming, both of which are video tasks. Nothing to do with audio. So, now he's going to go and get the signs changed. So, you're welcome. Glad I could point out another flaw. So you public servants that are nothing but fucking cowards don't want the public to realise that that ain't a public court. It's a private administrative hearings you guys are all holding in there. The bench means bank. All they are money changers. And that's all they are living off of. Money. You know, district courts have got nothing to do with fucking common law. That's High Court, Supreme Court, Court of Appeals. District courts, it's for all of the districts. You are all districts. You have a district number on your birth certificate, which relates to the entry number on your birth printout in New Zealand. I can prove that unequivocally. My entry of my printout of my live birth was entry 409. On the district, it now says district 409. That's why you have district commanders. You all live in suburbs. You are all land. Your birth certificate is held at the Land Information New Zealand. Okay? Anyway, moving on. Ignoring the fact that you're all chattel property for government. These guys have chosen to infringe on my rights, but today, the lady, and I'll refer to her as Fantastic, Lady Fantastic went in there today, and Divya was being the court taker in a courtroom that she was sitting in. Lisa Tremowan, the judge that found in my favour on the 1st of April, was the judge. Divya kept looking around the monitor. Then Divya recognised that Lady Fantastic was the same woman that was standing next to me on Friday, and I told her that she was my witness. Next, what followed was blatant witness intimidation, false allegations, and strong-arm brutality from court security, the judges, the staff. Lady Fantastic was approached by a sergeant, a female sergeant, police sergeant, who was informed by Divya that Lady Fantastic may have been recording, which she has never, ever done, to my knowledge, at any stage. She's a bit of a technophobe. She still has a flip phone, for fuck's sake. She doesn't even have a smartphone. She wouldn't know how to audio record, even if you tried. And there's no insult to her intelligence whatsoever. Anyway, the female senior sergeant walks her out of the courtroom and then stands in front of the court door blocking her so she cannot re-enter. When she approached her and she asked her if she had something to do with the matter at hand that was being heard, she just said she was a member of the public, sitting in a public gallery. She was asked numerous times to come out. She went out with the sergeant. The sergeant asked her, people have reported or suspiciously that you are recording. Lady Fantastic knows that she doesn't have to answer any questions. she's not obliged in any way, shape or form to answer any questions from police. In fact, any lawyer worth his salt will tell you, do not talk to police, because it'll always be held against you and never for you. So then, after they're sitting outside outside this courtroom, Lady Fantastic asks the sergeant, am I being detained? And she says, no, you're not being detained. So Milady went and marched on into another courtroom. Now, she just went and sat down. The sergeant went in, spoke to the court taker, who then informed the judge, and the judge piped up and said, could the lady in the white coat, are you recording? Now again, she's not obliged to answer those questions, and in fact the lady sitting in front of her or behind her, who was also wearing a white coat, went, me? Not knowing what the fuck was going on. And Lady Fantastic chose to stand up and just say, am I obliged to answer your questions? And he asked again, are you recording? And she goes, am I obliged to answer that question? And then he says, right, you can leave the court. You cannot answer a simple question, and kicked her out of the court. Now, since the Court Matters Bill got passed last year, and it's been amended to the Court Securities Act, the word court means the entire building, including the footpath outside it. It's not just a courtroom. Court is an all-encompassing term, because too many people were doing what they wanted in public accessible areas in a courtroom and still not allowed to record, in a courthouse, but still judges' rules as far as in the courtrooms are concerned, because they consider themselves God, judge, jury and executioner. So anyway, he then asked her to leave the courtroom. She asked if she was obliged to, or she actually clarified, are you ordering me to leave, or are you requesting? He said, I'm asking you, which we all know is a request, not an order. Then the heavies surrounded her, court security and police, and escorted her out of the courtroom, and then told her that she is then trespassed for the day from the court building in its entirety. She offered for a female constable or sergeant to search her, which they didn't do, and it was only at the point where the constable or one of the sergeants or one of the police officers was about to manhandle her and commit battery, to use reasonable force to remove her or take her into custody. They threatened to arrest her. She is the most sweetest, nicest lady who just has a passion for following legislation and law and legal proceedings. She often spends days in courtrooms just to watch how the procedures all go, because she has a passion for it. I don't know her other than through law studies and law cases. She is an independent witness for me last Friday, and all of those people intimidated the living fuck out of her, and it was only when they chose to threaten her with taking her into custody, i.e. arresting her, under people being suspicious that she was recording. She went through the security scanners. She didn't even have a cell phone. She said that to the cop, and the cop said, it's 21st century, you can be recording devices and anything. Why do they do that? Because they know I've recorded the fuckers with my sunglass cameras, my watch cam. I have many cameras. She even said the only way she's going to be able to go back into Waitakere District Court if she goes and start fucking naked. And even then they'll probably cavity search her for a recording device. This is out of control. This was a public district court. She was in a public gallery doing what she chose to do. She was exercising her freedoms in a public fucking courthouse. And because all of a sudden Divya Ojha, or whatever the fuck her last name is, OJHA, because Divya Ojha recognised her as being my witness, not just a friend next to me, I told her she was my witness, she then chooses to use the court security, police, judges and the whole judicial system to intimidate the fuck out of her. Thankfully, she doesn't scare easy, and she knows her rights. More than 99.9% of most of the sheeple out there in this country. if you think you're still in a country. Now, of course, I'm thinking perhaps they're doing this to her knowing it's going to get back to me, and they're trying to derive an emotional response because that's what they want. And I don't mind sharing my emotions with all of you people, but they are getting fucking jacked from me. At the moment, I'm going to be sending some case law references in regards to full disclosure and disclosure of case files to parties of the matter that's been set in case law. I'm getting that together, and I'm emailing the national or regional manager, Carl Lewins. See, Ministry of Justice, when I rang them yesterday, wouldn't even identify who the national or regional managers of the Ministry of Justice were. She refused to, and then she let it slip by saying, oh, Carl's not at his desk, he's the regional manager. He's in charge of Auckland and Waitakere and North Shore. And I went, oh, that would be Carl Lewins, my old friend from back in 2015, who happened to be the court services manager of North Shore back then. You may recall a man, Jackson Cutting. He was the man that was court services manager for the criminal jurisdiction at Auckland District Court last year, who I recorded and who seemed to not like being recorded in a public place and tried to do all of his policy enforcement with me and failed miserably. Jackson's no longer working there, it would seem, because the Ministry of Justice currently has a position open for the court services manager for the criminal jurisdiction. And guess how much court services managers are getting in New Zealand for their job? They're getting twice as much as a starting policeman. Police get $57,000 a year as a starting figure. Alright? They're getting around $114,000 to $118,000 a year for court services managers for pushing paper. It's that we're talking $2,000 a week clear in your hand. Hush money. Keep everybody quiet. All part of the club, can't talk about it. How fucking corrupt is the New Zealand, I'm not going to say justice system, because we don't have a justice system, we have a legal system. How corrupt is the legal system? So, as for Chris telling me that you cannot civilly prosecute a servant of the Crown, you can certainly prosecute police officers. More and more people are waking up to how corrupt the system is. It's shit on too many people now, and more people are going online, looking up, finding out the correct procedures. I was contacted by a man in Hawke's Bay who had seen the Health and Disability Commissioner success I'd had with Dr. Incompetent over my wife's knee. And the story he told me to do with the IHC and strong-arming and lack of responses and bureaucratic crap he's had to go through, oh my god, pales in comparison to just the mediocre shit I deal with. I mean, I deal with parking tickets and speeding tickets and shit like that, because how tyrannical was someone going to act in relation to something as petty as something like that? And yet they do. You know, they want to use full force of the law, but yet they don't adhere to it themselves. Time and time again, I've pointed out flaws in the procedures. They fix them. I might get a smoke up my ass saying thanks very much, but that doesn't change anything. The system itself does work. If our servants and government agents that are supposedly representing the will of the people actually followed the rules and procedures, there would be a lot better system. But they are carte blanche. They are power drunk and shouldn't and daily overstep their scopes of authority. And this shit's got to end. Anyway, I just wanted to put this down and let you guys all know how absolutely fucked off I am. But I'm not going to give Ministry of Justice Divya, Philippa, who responded to me yesterday. Philippa responded telling me that all she could do was reiterate the 10th of May email that Divya sent me, which says, Judge has said you have to fill out an application. Not judge anyone, just judge. It's a flat out fucking lie. Even an oral direction exists in a minute from a judge. Oral directions are not literally oral directions that were just passed on. That's hearsay. So we will see how we go. I'm not stopping. I expect a complete copy of my case file, and if I cannot do anything, and I still choose to fill out this application, and as I haven't been able to, as I've been obstructed and my rights have been breached numerous times by these fuckwits behind the counters, because that's happened, I guess I'm just going to have to fill out an application for everything. Any and all documents in their complete and entire front and back form, because I have a right to them. And I'll file a memorandum to a judge, because memorandums have to go before judges, and I will tell them exactly what's going on. We'll see if Divya is happy to listen to a judge ripping her a new one. But then, it completely depends on the judge. Perhaps Lisa Tremwan is one of those diamonds in the roughs. She appeared very honourable to me, and has my utmost respect. But if Divya is saying, and she referred to the judge as she, so if Divya is saying that Lisa Tremwan is the judge, I'd like to see that minute. See you all guys, enough of my rant. I know I do go on, and I know I haven't posted much lately. I've just had some issues to deal with, as life tenderly throws at you. I trust you're all doing well. Much love to you all, and keep up the good fight. Don't live in fear of those that are there to serve you. Okay? See you. Bye.
Rainbows in the dark. Cock it, let it go. Load it, cock it, let it go. Load it, cock it, let it go. Load it, cock it, let it go.